First off, let's get into our local news. Now, with our local news, residents at a Rocky Hill, which is in Connecticut, a Rocky Hill apartment complex evacuated over unsafe conditions. The state of Connecticut Attorney General Tong, he explores legal action against management. So management meaning the property managers of this apartment complex. Now, here's my thing. I feel like I said in a previous episode, until it happens to white people or in a densely white population, people aren't concerned, right? There is no urgency to really take a look at who is owning these properties because a lot of times these properties are bought by people who don't live in the state of Connecticut. So if I'm not mistaken, please in the comments you can correct me. I think I had the article up, but I do believe the people who owned this property, they lived in California, or the property actual owners lived in California, if I'm not mistaken. And so it's just very interesting that you can buy a property in Connecticut, but then live in a whole different state. And even if it's not California, if it's like, oh yes, it is. It says they're a Los Angeles based real estate. So to me, it's like those are the type of things that need to be looked at because who's actually managing this property and how much of an investment do you have? Now, granted, I understand how real estate works, but there are people, okay, so many thoughts. Let me funnel them properly, okay? I understand how real estate works, and I understand that you can live in one place because that's where your home is, and like Monopoly, you buy across the board. I get it. But if you aren't going to visit and see about your properties, that's when I have an issue. Now, what I was trying to say and, slowing down my thoughts, because y'all know, be a mile a minute. I listened to the Joe Budden podcast. There's a gentleman on there by the name of Ish who buys real estate. He lives in New Jersey, but he buys real estate pretty much up and down the coast. So, like Virginia, I think he was in Tennessee at some point, looking for different real estate properties. I think he was even looking at or thought about in Portugal. So I understand people buying property, you know, as an investment for wealth. And I totally understand that. But the difference is in what I see and can, honor and respect in at least ish is that he visits his properties. So if there's an issue happening and, residents are complaining or something's taking place, he's going to see about his property. So if he has property in Virginia, he's going to see about his property in Virginia. If he, has property in Tennessee, hypothetically, right? He will go and see about that property. The property he has in New Jersey, he says he spends time driving around and looking at the property. And if he sees something not being done, he himself will go and do it, right? So if he goes out and he sees, like, okay, this grass is overgrown. My guys are supposed to be here last week. It's now a new week. They aren't there. He's going to get out and mow the grass, those type of things. But if you're in LA, how often are you catching a 6-hour flight to come and look at a piece of property in Rocky Hill, Connecticut? You understand what I'm saying? It's just not likely. So that is something that needs to be looked at. And then it needs to be looked at not just in densely, you know, white towns. You also need to take it to your urban areas, your, Hartford, Connecticut's, your Waterburys, your Bridgeports, your New Havens, because that is also where it's happening. People who live in these, New York sky rises are like, oh, it's how much over there in Hartford? Okay, cool. Buy the street, and they never go back to look at it. Whoever was there, they're just like, okay, yep, great, thank you. You continue to take care of the property. He's not getting any real type of money, or if he is, he's not gonna put it back into, the actual property. He's probably gonna be like, okay, cool. If they're giving me this extra money, I'm gonna go move to Florida and now rent this out. So now I'm getting that money because I'm renting out my place. Like, it's just all this sketchy business. So I think we really, 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 like, although this did happen, and I mean, hundreds of people were like without power, without hot water, all of that. I definitely think to bottom, you need to look at this, not just focus on this one apartment, like across the board, especially in urban communities, black communities, brown communities. You need to look at these places. I will tell y'all a story, okay? Real quick. My first apartment, oh boy. Oh, that was a sight to see. My first apartment was so bad. And it was such a learning lesson because let me tell you guys, for anyone out there, if an apartment says all utilities included, get your words right. If it says that, like it's just all inclusive, avoid it at all costs. Unless the rent is like mortgage type rent. Other than that, like 2,500, 1,800, 26, 27. If it's not up to that, just avoid it. Just avoid it. When I say that was the slums of the slums, now on the outset, right? Like if you're just walking in and like doing a quick little tour, the apartment looks great. It's not until you move in that you realize, oh, this is the ghetto. A white fridge? Oh, this is the ghetto. Woo. This is the ghetto, babes. No, thank you. No, ma'am. I'm good. If you caught that reference, we here. But yeah, no. So I just feel like let's look at the bigger picture and not just focus on one apartment and be outraged by one apartment. This is a real big issue. And this is why people living conditions are so terrible because you have people who are like multimillionaires just picking and choosing and buying anything just to say they have it and don't care about the people who actually live there, which is so unfortunate, especially in times like today where you're getting 18 inches of snow, it's -3 outside, and you walk into your place still expected to pay rent. Never forget that. And there's no heat, no hot water, no electricity. Like, excuse me? Absolutely not. Now, our next topic, I told y'all the people are exposing themselves. So, a Connecticut House Speaker calls out a Republican over wearing a jacket. Now, the jacket was bedazzled, and on the back it said ICE in. What does that mean? Remember, at the, I want to say, Oscars, all the celebrities were wearing pins that said ICE out. So she took it upon herself, according to this article with I think it was NBC Connecticut. She said it was in response to Governor Ned Lamont, who was basically like, ICE, don't even come around these parts. We keeping people safe, we keeping people protected, right? Anyways, she wore this jacket during an emergency fund discussion. And this person was Representative Cara Pavalak Diamato out of Bristol. So she wore this iced out, literally iced, blinged out, I should say, just to clarify, blinged out ice in jacket during this big House Speaker, discussion. Now, what was so interesting about this is because to me, people do things for attention, and it's like you can just sit down and tell us who you are. You don't have to do this gesture or put clothing on to tell us, right? Use your mouthpiece. Understand? Use your mouthpiece. And it's the same thing with the celebrities. Everyone wants to wear pins, but no one wants to speak. Speak. Use your words. Put it down on wax. You understand what I'm saying? I don't understand why we need to decorate ourselves when we can use our words. If you felt so strongly about what Governor Ned Lamont said, then speak out. Send a letter to the press. Guess what they're going to do? They're going to publish your letter, and you can say what you want to say. You can have them come, see you somewhere, stand outside somewhere, and speak to your feelings about that. I think that's the best thing to do as opposed to doing this. Like, but you know what? With all that being said, right? continue to expose yourselves. Continue, continue, continue. Because we the people, as it says in the Constitution, we the people, we should know who y'all are. We should know who y'all are. We should know how y'all feel. So please continue to expose yourselves. And on that note, we're going to jump into our last local news topic. This one was very interesting because I'm going to kind of combine it with another story, but I feel like this is something that's happening across the board, right? So, Governor Ned Lamont proposes a cell phone ban and free breakfast, which would cost upwards of 12 million for all Connecticut students. Now, here's the thing. There are already towns, I think we spoke about this before. There are already towns and cities in Connecticut who are, who've decided to ban cell phones, who got the little pouches that like magnetically close this, that, and the third. I totally understand. Free breakfast, I get it. They say, I should say, right? They say it's the most important meal of the day. The kids need it. I totally understand. It will cost 12 million. Where is that going to come from? We think about taxing us. You listen. Never mind. You know what? No, fuck it, Imma say it. You already spend so much money on all of these SNAP benefits and these EBTs and all of these different things, and we still need to be taxed now to prov it's just so much that they put on the people to just put free in front of something. And that's my issue with Democrats. It's always they wanna put free in front of something, free healthcare, free breakfast for kids, free that everything needs to be free without an actual plan to how to fund it besides taxing just the like I said, the low income people. You're scared to tax the rich, but you'll tax us so we can have free breakfast. You know what I mean? Like, what's the sustainability in this? I don't know. I would love to hear about it because to me, I don't know. Now there was a Republican who now mind you, okay, follow my train of thought here, right? Now remember I told you guys um this woman wore this jacket ice and because Governor Ned Lamont had came out and said all this, in response to Trump, right? So there was a Republican who also had some words and he said essentially Governor Ned Lamont needs to look to play nice with Trump because if he doesn't, we know Trump is going to cut off federal funding. He's like, is it worth him cutting off the federal funding? Listen, honest question, right? Because if you need federal funding, if you want to do this 12 million, you're probably going to need federal funding, right? Like you're going to want federal programs to keep happening. And if you're not looking to play nice and go and meet with him and be chummy chummy and like Mom Donnie did, you may not agree with everything Trump is talking about, but at least play nice so he's not, because either way it's lose lose. But like, what's the greater loss? And I think that's what this Republican was arguing. And I agree. You're proposing things for more money. And where are you going to find this from? You're going to go ask the federal government. Do you know what Trump is going to do? He's going to give you his whole orange ass to kiss. That's what he's going to do. He might spread his cheeks. You know what I'm saying? So I do understand the sentiment of play nice with Trump. Now, that doesn't mean you agree. That doesn't mean that you disregard your own beliefs and morals and values, but you have to be able to play the game of politics, especially if you're going to want things done for your state. So I don't know. I think Ned Lamont has to tread real, real lightly because especially if you know people who work for the federal government, people who are on these like, federal grants and things like that. Trump get the slicing and dicing and it's all over because you didn't want to play nice. Now, granted, do we want to see what happened in Minnesota happening here in Connecticut? No, of course not. But we also don't want to see hundreds and thousands of people out of work because Trump decided, oh, y'all didn't want to comply, cut their budgeting. So we have to you gotta play that dance, especially in the world of politics.